A new Salina housing project breaking ground today.
That project is set to provide needed housing for people in Salina and the growing community. 12 News reporter Gabriela Hernandez spoke with those currently looking for rentals and city officials about what this project could mean.
As long as I've lived here, finding rental properties has been an issue.
Ali Salas is one of many people living in Salina who has struggled finding a rental. Salas says she believes multiple factors play into it.
Pricing and availability are number one, just because it is so expensive to live here right now.
Adding she loves her landlord and current rental, but doing it alone can be a struggle.
If you want anything that's not an apartment, you're definitely going to be paying more than $1,000, whether it's a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom. And then if you have pets, that's also a whole nother story.
The city of Salina was awarded $25 million to help accommodate their housing expansion, including their newest project, Magnolia Village.
Salina Destination Development announced its first phase of the new multifamily housing, equipped with 254 apartments, outdoor amenities, and more. City Manager Mike Scragg says he hopes this project will help with the affordable housing market in Salina.
We've been very deliberate in identifying affordable housing and the tools that we can use to assist with affordable housing. Here, this is market rate. We've got a couple of other projects that are affordable housing projects. That then creates housing that frees up other housing.
And as for Salas,
I am more focusing on just like the roommate sitch right now and trying to kind of find someone who wants to come in here so that way I can stay in my lovely home.
In Salina, Gabriela Hernandez, 12 News.
Complex will be at the intersection of Magnolia and Interstate 135 in South Salina. Construction of the first phase is expected to be complete in early 2026.